Yeah, I would like to welcome you all to Monkeys Mondays first virtual event. Thanks everyone. Before getting started, like spending an evening 8 o'clock with for the technical stuff, it's a really a wonderful thing. So it shows a lot of effort and it shows a lot of interest. So first of all, thanks everyone. And let me take few minutes to introduce about the Monkeys Monday. It is nothing but a virtual event planned on every Monday to share knowledge with the community. So far, as part of the community, we were not committed for a specific dates or knowledge areas. Hope you all know that XMonkeys360 and various different user groups we are part of. So those user groups, so far we have not committed. Like every Sunday or every Saturday we will do this, or every Monday we will do. There's no commitment so far. We do like whenever we feel we will do, and whenever it requires a n number of requests we get for a particular topic, we used to organize. But with this Monkeys Monday series, we are committed. Like every Monday, 1 hour, either it can be 6 to 7 or 7 to 8 or 8 to 9, whatever it is, it we are here to discuss about any new thing or whatever the knowledge, like it is going to happen among the community, by the community and for the community. Okay, and again, this is not going to happen by a small group of people. It requires a lot of support from you all guys as well. Yes, I request and assure everyone can be a part of Monkeys Monday and share their knowledge. All you need to do is either you can reach out in our meetup group itself with a topic like this is what I'm going to share my knowledge. So we are very open to receive those kind of interests, and we are ready to give an opportunity for everyone of on the community. And the only key difference between the regular meetup and this one is going to be, this is purely a code based approach. Usually in many of the meetups we present, even we do present more time. If let us take if the session time is 40 minutes, 30 minutes we will roam around the PPT, and the last 10 minutes we will do a quick demo, and then we will wind up for the session. So it is not going to be like that. Only difference between the usual webinars and the usual meetups face to face stuff on this webinar is, only thing is more into the coding and less into the PPT. Even if we, most of the sessions we are planning without even a PPT, just directly dive into the Visual Studio or VS Code, whatever it is, we'll start doing the coding. That's the first thing which we are planning. And so that is all about this Monkeys Monday as such event, as such quick introduction. So like at the end of the session we will have a separate Q&A, and whatever your questions, you can please feel free to post your questions. End of the session, the last 10 minutes we reserved it for the Q&A. Let's quickly have a look on it. And before jumping into today's session, a small introduction. So this Monkeys Monday, it has been organized by Mr. Anbu, who is one of predominantly who involved into Xamarin and the mobile app development, and myself, Sathish, working as a solution architect with a pharma company, on an IT wing of a pharma company, predominantly into various flavors of SharePoint, Office 365, Teams development. So those are all the backgrounds of now. As of now, only we two are the organizers of this particular group, and we expect more number of interest from you guys. Okay, so with this introduction, let us jump into the today's topic. Today's topic is Azure Cognitive Search. So cognitive search, it is nothing but what I'm going to explain is whatever I have done it in my previous project. I extracted few of the things, and let us start off sharing the crux of that implementation to the community. That's the objective of it. Like it is not going to be what is Azure Cognitive Search and what are all the features, all these things. It is not going to be. Let's give a quick introduction about what is Azure Cognitive Search, and let us take the same use case, whatever we have done for an actual project, with an abstracted version of that use case, and start running the program and debug the program directly. I have written the program for us for our debugging session. So let's quickly jump into that. Okay, give me a minute. Let me open my VM. It's opening. I made it like I opened everything and I kept it ready, everything. But as usual, at the last minute, the machine got restarted automatically. I didn't realize that 8 o'clock. I made it. I made this VM as auto shutdown. Yep. Okay. So hope everyone is able to see that. This is an introduction slide which I thought of showing it. Yeah, we had discussed enough about this. I don't want to take much of our time. Already it is we crossed 10 minutes of our plan. Okay. Yeah, and the agenda is, let's have a look on what is Azure Search Service is all about. What is the data source, index, indexers, and how to create a skill set, and how to do this, how to use this by out of the box, and how to do the same thing, how to implement this service programmatically. And last 10 minutes we will reserve it for the questions. Okay, it's a very crisp agenda. And so like hope many of us might be heard of this terminology Azure Search, but I'm not sure how many of us ever used it on our day-to-day project. So if whoever has not used the Azure Search so far, a basic introduction about it, like the only difference between the other search results and the Azure Search results is the search text can be of any spelling, like a tiger. Even if you take a spelling of tiger, it can be either a tiger, tigre as well. So those kind of simple spelling mistakes between the US and UK English, those things will be taken care automatically. That's one of the best thing which I felt. And the second one is the facets. You can get the facets, faceted result. Well, like whenever you are doing a query, you will automatically get a faceted result. We don't need to make any of the processing on the search results. That's one best thing which I saw that. And the next one are suggestions, ranking, paginations, and whatever the highlighting a particular text within the search results. So all these things are possible within the Azure Search. This one I just gave you an example. This is nothing but a Microsoft page where they have created this site for their demo. So you can download it directly. I'll tell you, this is entirely a different purpose, and I'll tell you the today's use case as well. So theoretically, ranking, paginations, and whatever the highlighting a particular text within the search results. So all these things are possible within the Azure Search. So this one I just gave you an example. This is nothing Microsoft page. And can you please go on mute? And I'm hearing the repeater. So you can download it directly. I'll tell you. This is entirely. And can you stop? Yes, I'm getting an echo. Okay. Yeah. So let's continue that one. Azure Search Service. What is Azure Search Service? Azure Search Service is a delegated cloud-based search service that can be populated and indexed to provide ultra-high performing queries against data sources, including Azure SQL, Azure Storage, Azure Documents DB, etc. So here, as from the beginning onwards, we are keep on saying that Azure is a service, Azure Search is a service. So are we going to store anything on this service? No, we are not going to store anything. The data, it is going to reside in your Azure Blob storage, or it can be within your Azure SQL service. So it can be anything else like within the Azure platform. You can keep your data in any of the different platforms. And this service, what it does, it is similar to our Google search or any other Bing search. It will crawl the content from our data source. So what we need to do, first we need to create a data source, upload our content into the data source, create a service, configure that service to crawl the data source, like on the data to crawl it. Basically what crawl means, crawl is nothing but extract the information from the data source and keep it ready for the querying. So that's what it does on the background, and it has an ultra fast performance and can be managed at a granular level, supports both rudimentary and extended data types, can be managed programmatically. So these are all the theoretical explanations and the key points of the Azure Search Service. Like I'll show you the exact demo, so by that time we will be knowing that one more precisely. Let me go back, give me a minute, let me open. So in a notepad, I'm going to I'll write the steps. I'll write a simple steps, login to the Azure portal. Okay. I'm logging in. The next step is create a separate resource group for this demo. Let me create a separate resource group. Monkeys Monday demo. Okay, I'm going to keep it on the East US itself. One sec, let's make everything as a small letter. Yep. The next step is create a search service. Yeah. Yeah, Monkeys Monday search service, or else we'll, for our stuff, let's keep it as simple search service. Okay, so the location, either it can be it's nothing makes different for this particular demo. If you're not targeting for the performance, let's see that. Okay, create a search service and then create a blob storage, and within that let's create the container, etc. Basically we are going to create a data source. That's what we are planning to do. I'll do that. Okay, so search service, it got created. With this, let's keep it as it is. Let me go back to the resource group and let's create our data source. Okay, so here on the same resource group, I'm going to create a storage account. Okay, the next one is the storage account. Storage account 1. to who has taken these things? Oh my god. Monkey storage account. Okay. Again, I'm going to keep it on US. Let it be. Okay. And the account kind, I'm creating it. Created a storage account. Now, after creating a storage account, what we need to do, create a container within that. Like already I have created all these things today morning itself, but again to show every step, I'm creating it once again. So it doesn't make any sense like if we start showing that. Okay, so even if many of us might be created many containers earlier, please bear with me. I'm going to create a container. Okay, monkey container, and for that I'm going to give the blob. Okay, and this is my container. Perfect. So what we can do is we can start uploading the files here. Okay, so let me create some of the files. Okay, one sec. Yep, let me start uploading the exact file which we are planning processed. Okay, let me cut these files and rename. Yeah, perfect. We have the details. I'll tell you once we do it manually, I'll explain you what we are trying to do. What is the use case? Like I forgot to tell you the use case itself. I'll tell you that. Give me a minute. So let me upload the files. Okay. Yep. So far what we have done, we have created the container, upload the files. Okay. Yep. And then what we are going to do, go back to your search service. Let me duplicate this. Yeah, let's go back to our search service. Okay, this is what our search service which we created. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a data source, a skill set, an index, and an indexer. So these are all the 4 things which we need to create for our application. Okay, so for that what we are going to do, I'm going to import the data. So connect to our data is nothing but my Azure Blob storage data source. Give me a minute. Let's give monkey data source, and then the parsing method default connection string. Let's go back, get the container. Let me go back to this service. Go to the keys, get the connection string copied, come back. Okay, and let's take the container name. What's the container which we used? Monkey container. And the folder, we are not using the folder, let it be. Yep. Add the cognitive skills. Here, this is where the cognitive skills we are using. I'll tell you what exactly it is all about. Okay, I'm giving the skill set as a skill set or monkey skill set. Okay, and OCR, I'm enabling the OCR, and I'm creating a field like the source data field is merged underscore content. I'll explain you what it is all about. And let's include all the cognitive fields, whatever the fields which is. Okay, and then I'm going to create an index. So for what we have done on the first page, we created the data source. On the second page, we created the skill set, and the third, we are creating an index. Okay, so what we are doing, we are monkey index. Okay, and the key I'm going to give it as leave as it is. Okay, and then the important thing is we need to make sure whatever the fields which we are retrievable, what are all retrievable here. Okay, so merged content, I'll tell you what exactly it is in the next slide. Okay, so I want these are all the fields which will be returned back by the service for me when I do the query. Okay, and these are all the five properties: retrievable, filterable, sortable. Whether this content is a retrievable, yes, it should be a retrievable, and whether the storage size, it should be a retrievable. If I give retrievable as true, then only you can make a select statement against this particular field. Otherwise you cannot make a select statement on this one. And the storage name, it is nothing but the path. So basically what we can do is, for our example, let's make, because we are not considering the performance, we just need to know how exactly it works. Considering that one, I'm making all the fields as retrievable, filterable, sortable, facetable, searchable, whatever it is. And sometimes it will throw some exception also. Some of the fields cannot be sortable, because if you have a look on this, by default it is people cannot be sortable, organization cannot be sortable, locations cannot be sortable. So in the previous edition, like on the previous editions a couple of months back, this one it is not available. This text box or this checkbox is available for all the fields, and whenever you check and click on the next, then at that time you will get a validation exception stating that content cannot be sortable, or content cannot be facetable. Like that we are getting an exceptions. So now we created the index. The next step, we need to create an indexer as well. Okay, and this indexer, I'll tell you what are all the different properties we have. So with this, I'm creating a data source, like I'm establishing a connection between the search service and the storage service. Okay, so what we have done, we have created a storage account and the container, uploaded few files, and created a service account, established a connection by creating a data source, the data source pointing to our blob, like blob storage, whatever we have created. And with these things, what else we have created? We have created a skill set. This is what the actual cognitive thing which is happening. I'll explain you in a moment. Okay, and what else we have done? We have created an index, we have created an indexer, and created a data source, and created a skill set. Okay, perfect. Now what we need to do is, this is the indexer which we were talking about. This is nothing but similar to our crawler. Okay, so what I'm doing is, let's try running it. Why? Yep. Index document to the search index, it has thrown some exception. Let's have a look on it. It's nothing but So it is in progress now. Okay, again it got failed. Usually it will succeed and it will crawl. I'll show you the crawl, what it has been crawled on the other demo. Okay, and this is the search demo. And this is what the indexers. Okay, right. Right, it got created. So it's keep on. This is what the earlier execution which I did, and if you have a look on it, it got succeeded with a few warnings. Okay, let it be. And on the indexes, if we have a look on it, we have few indexes, and those indexes have a proper count. So this is our count. Okay, so let me go to this particular index and do a wildcard search. What it will do, it will give me back. It will give me back the content and the exact properties of that document, whatever the documents which we have uploaded into our data storage. Now with this, upload the file, establish the connection between the search service and the storage service. Okay, this is what we have done. Okay, now let's take the problem statement. Problem statement, it is nothing but I have a bunch of files which needs to be uploaded into SharePoint. By reading the content of the file and with a proper validation, like if the content of the file belongs to a particular customer on the SharePoint, upload that particular file into a specific folder structure or into a specific site collection. So this is what it seems like. Millions and millions are basically, let me tell you the background of this use case itself, so that it will be easy for us to understand. So this particular use case, what we have done is, I have a customer who wants to move from the physical document to a SharePoint portal. That's the one-line statement. And the physical document, what he'll do, the customer, he will keep on scanning the physical document, and the scanned copies will be kept in a particular shared path. Automatically, whenever a customer do a scan, a room full of document, so they will be scanning that document, and the scanned documents will keep on coming into a shared path. And I need to write a job, it will pull the files from the scanned path, like it will pull the shared pull the scanned files from the shared path and upload it into SharePoint based upon the content within that file. So within the like reading the content from a PDF, many of us might be using like it might be with your Tesseract or very simple tools, right? There are a lot of tools available. They can do the NLP, natural language processing, or even we have nowadays we have natural language generation also. So provided that it's very easy for us to read the content and based upon the content upload it. But the trick but the difficulty which we faced is the scanning. It is happening even a day. A million documents is happening, and the Tesseract, we tried executing it from 3 different servers, couldn't meet the volume of files which has been scanned. And the Tesseract, many times, if it reaches your maximum CPU utilization from which server you are executing, if it reaches the maximum CPU utilization, then the entire VM is getting stopped. And there are debug these kind of applications. It is a terrible one, right? Like every day million document needs to be moved from a particular folder to a SharePoint, and if something happens, something goes wrong, debugging it and correcting the exception, it's the horrible thing. Until the job runs fine, we are good. If something starts going wrong, then we will be in. It is not a website, or it is not a simple application where you can debug it or where you can do some other stuff to easily identify the stuff, right? So for considering all these things, for us, Tesseract was not the optimal solution. Rather, we were thinking like, even if it is a day, 1 day or 2 day or delay, we want a stable solution. So we don't want to invest our time on the debugging. Considering that one, Azure Search, and it was the one of the best fit for our requirement. What we did, we created a data source and we wrote a job. Like there are two jobs which we wrote. One, what it will do, it will pull the file from the shared path and upload it into our blob container, right? The container, whatever we were saying. And dynamically we are creating a skill set, we are creating an index all based upon today's date or whatever the day the job executes, and establishing a connection as well. What it does, it will crawl, and this Azure cognitive search, what it does is it extracts the content from the PDF. Like it does the, obviously it does the OCR. Okay, it extracts the content and keep it as a column. That is the merged underscore content. We hope we remember in our earlier page. This is what I was talking about. Merged content. This is the column, or this is the field in which the entire content of the document is being extracted and kept. And to reach this, like basically what difference it makes from the Tesseract. Tesseract, it is an exe. What we can do is we can call that exe during the runtime, get the file extracted, get the content back, and do that. So it's happening on the runtime, and it depends upon your hardware also. But here what happens is I'm uploading a million document and I'm not doing anything else. What it does is the indexer is having a property like it can be scheduled every 1 hour, or it can be scheduled every 2 hours. It run the indexer. So this is what the indexer definition JSON, I'll tell you. So here you can schedule, basically we can schedule the indexer, right? What it does at the background, it keeps on doing the crawling for us, and the content it prepares the content for us. Okay, the next day I have a second job. The first job I told you, whatever the files got moved from the scanner to the shared path, it will be pushed to our data storage. And the second day, during the night, what will happen is the indexer will keep on crawl the stuff. And the second day I have the other job, second leg of the application. What it does, it queries against the Azure Search Service and get the content. Based upon the content and the other field values, based upon the cognitive skills of the Azure Search, I'm preparing some business logic and upload the files accordingly into the SharePoint. That's the flow which we are doing. So here, with this particular iteration, I don't want to spend much time. Considering the timeline, we have only 20 more minutes. So basically this is what the plan, like I'll show you this. One sec. Okay, so here let's take Monday monkey. Okay, I have a config file. Perfect. And on the config, this is my application. So basically this application, it's an extract of the actual application, but it does most of the things, and maybe the variable names still it might be, but please avoid those things. And let's focus on the concept first. Okay, so this is the entry point I have created. As I told you, this is the console application, and it has two supporting projects. One is the common and one is the core. And on the console, this is the entry point. I'm reading the values, most of the values from this XML. Probably I will be able to upload these files into the GitHub and share as part of our meetup. But as of now, let's assume that this particular XML, it is having more information. I'll tell you what exactly it is. So basically it has the shared path. Let's assume that this is my shared path, though like we have some other logics behind that one. For the time being, I'm taking only one file, one particular type. As I told you, it is a very bigger project as we think, but I'm extracting a few, or like extracting a particular portion from the bigger project. So though I'm uploading 3 different files, I'm keeping 3 different files for open. And if you have a look on it, the index name, I'm giving it as Monday among Monday Monkey. Okay, with that, let me start executing it. One sec, let me tell you. Azure, the class will upload the files to Azure. Okay, the first step, as we said, we need to upload, and I'll explain you once it runs. I'll explain you how it has been structured. It has been how it has been architected, this console itself. Without it will have its own logging mechanism, it's having its own exception handling mechanisms, and it's having its own worker processes, and it is all multi-threaded. As I told you, it is so every day the target is around 50 to 60,000, and on the peak day it will go up to 1 million records. Million records will be scanned. That's what the expectation we had, and this particular project, this particular piece of code, it sustained those things. That's one good thing. And first let me run this and I'll show you what we are trying to do. I have commented the rest of the stuff. This is the only thing. Azure Search Worker, what it will do, it will be uploading the files to the Azure storage account. Okay, let us go back to the storage account. Okay, this is my storage account, and I have gone to the container, monkey container. Okay, probably this is not the stuff which we are using now. Okay, let's go back to this one, Azure Search. Okay, and storage account demo, right? Go to the container. Okay, blob container. This is how it should be, blob container. Okay, and this is the service name, and this is the connection string. I'll explain you what are all the things which comes here. Let's first run this one. So when I run this particular exe, I'm expecting 3 documents to be uploaded into this particular stuff with we cannot delete this. Okay, with the name, a new folder should get created on the name of Monday Monkey. Let me see that it is not available, so it will not cause any problem. It will get created. Okay, that's the first step. So the first step, I'll go back to our stuff. Okay, problem statement and the program execution. What it does, upload the files to Azure storage account container. Okay, by creating a new folder. Perfect. So let me quickly run this. Let's delete all the breakpoints. Delete all the breakpoints. Let me keep a breakpoint in the Azure Search Worker, and I need to go here and put a breakpoint here also in the process. I'll show you that one. Okay, so I'm running this. The first breakpoint I'm expecting to be hit on the initializing this particular worker class. Okay, let's see that. Okay, it got created. I'm initializing it. Now it will go to the constructor. These constructors, these are all the business logics. I'll explain you, or maybe after some time you should be able to understand that. Let's go to the process. On the process, the first thing, it is having all these business logics. Everything is done quick. Okay, done. And then I'm renaming the files, and I'm uploading the files. So this is where it happens. Okay, once we upload, so now it got uploaded. Let me come back to my container, refresh the container, and I should be able to see a new folder within my container, Monday Monkey, and these are all the 4 files which got uploaded. Okay, so now the first step, the files were uploaded properly. Perfect. And the next one, what we need to do, we need to create the entire stuff, the data source, index, and indexers. So these three things we are creating dynamically, and the skill set, I'm keeping it as it is. So why? Because if you go to the indexer, I'll show you that indexer. I'm on the indexer. Okay. Here we have a JSON definition. The indexer alone, it is having some problem. What is the problem? We cannot create it, or even if we are able to create it using the SDK. That is, all these objects are available in both the things, either in API or SDK. Hope probably we have discussed this thing. What is an API and what is an SDK? We have discussed enough about this in the previous meetups. But for now, as of now, instead of using the SDK, I have tried it with SDK also. It didn't give me a proper fruitful result. So that's the reason, by using this JSON, we can call an API, and by that we can create an indexer which works well for me. So that's the reason I'm not creating this skill set alone. Every skill set, it's for sure it cannot be created. That's the reason we manually created a skill set. Hope you remember through the out of the box how to create it. So we are using the same skill set here, and the rest of the things I'll show you that on the code. So now, as part of that first step, I need to create a data source. So before creating a data source, I'm just verifying whether the data source exists or not. If it exists, no need to create it again. So that's the reason. If it doesn't exist, okay, it is not there, we are going to create a data source. How I'm going to create a data source? So for that, I need to have the connection string of the storage account connection string. Like we need to take it from the portal, and then I'm going to create a data source. This is where it is, create a data source. Now a data source got created. Let's quickly go back to our stuff and see the demo data sources. If we have a look on it, Monday Monkey data source. This is the data source which we have created now. Okay, the next step, once you create a data source, the next thing, I'm going to create an index for it. Okay. So the index, index got created. Now with this service client, the index might be get created. Okay, Monday Monkey index. Perfect. And the document count, if you have a look on it, still it is 0. There is no document on this index. When the document will get populated, it is all populated by the indexer. When the indexer, we need to create an indexer and then run the indexer. Run the indexer is nothing but crawl the content. So that crawled result will get populated on the index. That's what the default that's what the best explanation for that. We can define the relationship. Okay, so now I'm going to create an indexer. The indexer, as I told you, I'm not able to create it using the SDK. Instead, what I'm doing is I'm creating it with the help of an API call by passing the indexer.json. So this is the JSON object. Like this is, I showed you a demo like the previous JSON object, right? So similarly, I created a file by copying this content. And one thing what we are going to do, we are going to change the data sources and what is the name, data source, target index, all these things we are updating during the runtime. And I'm making a call. I'm making an API call. Perfect. Okay. So it got created. It's getting some time. Yep. It got created. With this, the first step, it is done. Okay. So for what we have done, we have created the container and upload the documents and created the required services. And let's go back to the indexer, and you will be able to see the new indexer. And this new indexer, it's currently in progress. So it starts as soon as I created an indexer. That's the reason I'm creating using the JSON. As soon as I create an indexer, I triggered the crawling also. Okay, so the crawl, let's see that once the crawl completes, what it will do, it will be populated. This Monday monkey index should be populated with the document count. Okay, let's see that it should be populated with 3 documents. Okay, perfect, right? So it got populated. Now the second step, what we are going to do, I need to here, if you have a look on it, on the folder, the files which I kept, they were moved it and they were renamed, I moved it, all these things are business logic. I will show see that. Okay, let's go back to the SharePoint. Okay, one sec. I have SP Pals MVP, and let's go to a team site. Okay. Okay, we'll log in using the cognitive. Okay, here let me go to the shared documents and I'll do one thing. So let me delete the existing stuff. Okay, I don't want that. Now I have a shared documents. I have a particular site collection. Now let's go back, comment this and upload this. Okay, now what we are trying to do, upload the files container. Okay, establish the connection between the storage and search service. This is done. The third step is upload the files to SharePoint based on the search result from the Azure Search Service. Okay, this is what I'm going to do now. Okay, let's do that. The same thing. Let me go to the process and let me put a breakpoint somewhere. Okay, let me put a breakpoint here. Let me execute it. Okay, so all these things are SharePoint related stuff, and the logging mechanism, I'll tell you since why there are a lot of logging mechanism on this particular application. As I told you, it's going to be a huge volume of data which we are going to deal. So that's the reason, if to debug, it's the only way, apart from there is no other way except logging frequently. Okay, now this is where actually the search pieces comes into picture. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm creating the search service name and I'm getting the query API, I'm getting the index, all these things from the configuration values, and then we are creating an index client. Okay, and with that index client, I'm going to execute that one, execute a search query, but similar to our any other SQL or KQL or camel, whatever the things. So I'm getting the target metadata, that's I'm initializing an object and I'm creating a search parameter. What I'm going to do, filter with the name of the file, and the name of the file, whatever the file which we have uploaded. So I have a loop, I have 3 files on it, and that's the reason of for loop. Within the for loop I'm working it and get that, and need not be a for loop, you can make it as a multi-threaded also, but I have improved the performance wherever it is possible, but in this scenario we need to keep it as a for loop. And then this is where actually doing the search. Now the search query got executed and I'm getting the result, and the result, as everyone knows, we have a unique names, right? So always the results will be only 1. That's the reason result.count is 1, and having a validation here as well. Let's go back, and within that I'm taking, like, apart from this, all these things, I'm getting the content of the file. Okay, this is where the extracted, the OCR happened on the PDF, and the extracted content, I got it as a variable. From this variable with the different business logic, the rest of the things are business logics only. So the rest of the thing, when I do that, it will get uploaded. So always I'm cautious about the logging. So let's see that it's uploading. Okay. So it processed, took the file content, and based upon the file content, it uploads. That's what we are expecting. Okay, let me go to this. Hope we deleted. Yeah, we deleted those files, and a few seconds before we have few of the folders, and these folder structures, all these things got created based upon a business logic, and the files were uploaded. And after that, what we have done is, from here, these are all the processed files, and the error occurred or any exception occurred, the files might not be moved from here to here. So the next run, it will be happening, it will automatically take it up. So that's the overall flow, right? Upload the files into based upon the search service. So hope we enjoyed the session, and this is one simple use case where we can leverage the Azure Search Service for a huge volume. The purpose, like the crux of this particular session is where we can use this service. In what use case we can use this service. Here I have not explained about what it is all about, what is the background, nothing has been explained. I had a use case, and with that use case I implemented this particular solution, which helped me a lot in terms of performance and in terms of a long running jobs as well. So for that's the purpose which I could extract from this Azure Search Service. Hope you really enjoyed the session, and considering the timeline, I hope I'm within the time. So the last 5 minutes, can we have it for the quick Q&A?
Thank you, bro. So only one question. I think already they know the answer. Can it get data from SharePoint?
No, for the search service, right? You cannot. The data source cannot be a data SharePoint source as of now.
Okay.
And then are we having the event now? Okay, this is for you, right? I'm thinking,
No,
what
no,
is that event? Okay.
Yeah, actually only one question now.
Okay, that's perfect. So with that, if no more questions, yeah, can we wind up? Hope you guys really enjoyed, and thanks again. It was really, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you all.